Hi, welcome to Starz Recap. Today, I am going to explain an American epic space opera science fiction adventure movie titled Dune, which was released in the year 2021, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie Dune is set in the year 10,191. Humanity has uncovered many secrets of the universe and now travels freely between planets. These planets have evolved into separate nations, each governed by a single ruler, the Padishah Emperor, Shaddam Corino IV. The Emperor oversees various noble houses, each led by a duke who follows his commands. One of these planets is Arrakis, a harsh desert world that is the sole source of a rare and valuable substance called spice. This substance extends human vitality and is essential for interstellar travel, making Arrakis the most valuable planet in the known universe. Because of its significance, the noble houses are eager to control it. At the beginning of the movie, a native of Arrakis named Chani narrates that her people have long suffered under the rule of the noble house Harkonnen. Known for their cruelty, the Harkonnens exploit the natives without mercy, protected by the Emperor's authority. Chani also reveals that, one day, the Harkonnen troops abruptly leave Arrakis. However, she is certain that the Emperor plans to replace them with another force to continue exploiting the planet's resources. The scene then shifts to another planet called Caladan, which is ruled by House Atreides. The Prince of House Atreides, Paul, wakes up from a recurring dream that haunts him. He joins his mother, Lady Jessica, for breakfast. Lady Jessica is a member of an exclusive sisterhood known as the Bene Gesserit, an organization whose members possess advanced physical and mental abilities. Jessica possesses the power to influence people's minds, a skill she has honed through her training in the Bene Gesserit disciplines. She has been instructing her son, Paul, in these teachings for years. As a result, Paul has developed the ability to see glimpses of the future, along with other unique powers that he has yet to fully understand. Paul's father, Duke Leto, who leads House Atreides, has an important meeting with representatives from the Landsraad, the political body that governs all the noble houses. In the evening, the Atreides household welcomes the distinguished guests, who bring a message from Emperor Shaddam himself. The Emperor, who has recently ousted House Harkonnen from Arrakis, wants House Atreides to take their place and oversee the mining of the valuable spice. Although Duke Leto is suspicious of the Emperor's intentions, he has no choice but to comply. During the meeting, Jessica notices Gaius Helen Mahim, a high-ranking member of the Bene Gesserit, watching Paul closely. The meeting concludes with Leto sealing the Emperor's orders, confirming that they will depart for Arrakis. In the following scenes, the troops of House Atreides prepare to leave for the desert planet. Among them is Duncan, their most skilled warrior and Paul's close friend. Paul, troubled by visions of Duncan's death on Arrakis, expresses his concern. Duncan dismisses his worries, assuring him that everything will be fine before leaving ahead of the main party to prepare for their arrival. Later, Paul and Leto share a conversation about the challenges ahead. Leto admits that he has no desire to amass wealth from the spice. Instead, he hopes to win the loyalty of the Fremen, the native people of Arrakis, by treating them with respect, unlike the former ruler, Baron Harkonnen. Leto believes that gaining the support of the Fremen could prove invaluable to House Atreides. In a subsequent scene, Paul trains in combat with his mentor, Halleck. They practice using wrist devices that generate protective force fields. Halleck, worried about the threat of an attack by the vengeful Harkonnens, warns Paul to remain vigilant when they reach Arrakis. Meanwhile, on Giedi Prime, the homeworld of House Harkonnen, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen and his ruthless nephew, Rabban, discuss the withdrawal of their troops from Arrakis. Rabban mocks the Emperor for handing over the planet to the Atreides, but the Baron reveals a darker truth. The Emperor is actually conspiring to destroy House Atreides, fearing their rising influence. The plan is to lure Duke Leto and his men into a trap on Arrakis, where they will be eliminated during the spice mining operations. Back on Caladan, Jessica wakes Paul in the night, leading him to a doctor to check his vitals. It is revealed that the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mahim has learned of Paul's prophetic visions and wishes to test him to see if he is the one they have been waiting for. During the test, Mahim commands Paul to place his hand inside a mysterious box while she holds a poisoned needle to his neck, demanding that he resist the overwhelming pain to prove his self-control. With great effort, Paul passes the test. After Mahim departs, Jessica explains that the Bene Gesserit sisterhood has been secretly manipulating political affairs for years. They have also been carefully controlling bloodlines in an effort to produce a man with the power to save Arrakis from the destructive exploitation of the spice. The test that Paul just passed reveals him to be the Messiah of Arrakis, the one the Fremen have been waiting for. The very next day, Duke Leto, Paul, Jessica, and their troops depart for Arrakis and arrive on the desert planet. They are greeted by the native Fremen, who have already heard whispers that Paul might be their prophesied savior. However, Paul himself dismisses this as mere superstition. Later, in his chambers, Paul studies holograms about the massive sandworms that roam the deserts of Arrakis. To avoid attracting these deadly creatures, the Fremen have developed a way of walking in irregular patterns across the sand. As Paul watches the holograms, a lethal hunter-seeker, a tiny, deadly device, emerges from a wall and attempts to assassinate him. Paul reacts swiftly, managing to evade the attack just in time. Upon investigation, it is discovered that a Harkonnen agent had been hiding within the walls, waiting for the right moment to strike. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Baron Harkonnen meeting with Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mahim. Although Mahim is aware of the conspiracy between the Emperor and the Baron to annihilate House Atreides, she is powerless to intervene directly due to the Emperor's authority. However, she extracts a promise from the Baron to spare Jessica and Paul's lives. The Baron agrees but secretly plans to abandon them in the desert, leaving them to be devoured by sandworms. Back on Arrakis, Duke Leto holds a meeting with his advisors to discuss their strategy for mining spice. It becomes evident that the Harkonnens, before leaving, sabotaged much of the equipment, making the task significantly more difficult. The situation is tense, with the looming threat of an attack and limited resources to defend themselves. After some time, Paul is reunited with Duncan, who had been sent ahead to prepare for their arrival. Duncan explains that he has been living among the Fremen in the desert for 4 weeks, learning their ways and gaining their trust. He shares valuable insights about the Fremen's strength and their potential as allies, giving Duke Leto a glimmer of hope amidst the growing danger. He tells them all about their survival techniques and about a Fremen community called Siege, led by their leader, Stilgar. Stilgar has also come to meet Leto. Leto offers to work together with the Atreides, but Stilgar criticizes him for taking from their land without giving anything in return to its people. They part on good terms after Leto promises never to harm the Sieges. The next day, Leto and his team go to inspect the spice sand they will be mining. They meet a Freeman and an Imperial ecologist named Dr. Liat Kynes. She checks the integrity of Leto's sand suit, which is designed to recycle a person's sweat and urine into drinking water. While examining Paul's suit, Kynes notices that he already knows the Freeman way of wearing it, despite it being his first time. This observation makes her recall a prophecy that states their Messiah will understand their way of life, even if he comes from another land. Kynes also believes Paul to be the one. Afterward, the group sets off to inspect the spice sand. While sightseeing, they spot 2 sandworms approaching the harvester that mines the spice. It appears to be a common problem. A carrier is sent to lift the harvester out of the worm's reach. However, the carrier's anchor breaks, rendering it unable to lift the machine. With a crew of 21 aboard the harvester and the worms closing in, Leto acts quickly, ordering everyone to move their aircraft closer so they can rescue the crew. They land on the sand minutes before the worm attacks, successfully saving the crew. During the commotion, Paul catches a whiff of spice and experiences a vision. When he returns home, he remains dizzy, and the doctor dismisses it as an allergy. However, Paul insists that he saw a Freeman girl in his vision and is convinced it was more than just an allergic reaction. He also tells Jessica that she is pregnant, though Jessica dismisses his claim. The scene then shifts to the Imperial Army planet, where a battalion is being assembled to attack the Atreides and kill Leto and his family. This formidable force, known as the Sardaukar, is reputed to be the deadliest army in the known world. Back on Arrakis, the doctor brings Paul medicine to help with his allergies. But little does Paul know that the doctor has struck a deal with the Baron. The medicine is designed to render Paul unconscious. Leto and Jessica are also given sleeping pills. Jessica takes hers, but Leto does not. After a while, the Sardaukar army launches its attack. Leto wakes up and realizes what is happening, but before he can act, the doctor strikes him with a dart that gradually renders him unconscious. Outside, the Sardaukar army wreaks havoc, catching the Atreides forces by surprise. With their numbers doubled and armed with superior weapons, the Sardaukar quickly overpower the Atreides. Meanwhile, the doctor informs an injured Leto that the Baron has abducted his wife, leaving him no choice but to comply with the doctor's orders. The doctor then removes Leto's ring to hand it to Paul and inserts a poisonous molar tooth into Leto's jaw, warning that if he bites down hard enough, the tooth will release a secret poisonous gas that will kill everyone nearby. Simultaneously, the Sardaukar abduct Paul and Jessica and throw them into the sand. Paul awakens in an aircraft with his mother gagged and tied beside him. However, Jessica uses her power to manipulate people and compel them to obey. Together, they manage to kill their abductors. Paul also finds a Fremen kit left by the doctor, which aids in their escape, and they flee into the middle of the desert. In the meantime, an unconscious Leto is taken to the Baron and stripped naked. The doctor pleads with the Baron to free his wife, but instead, the doctor is mercilessly killed. The Baron then declares that Leto's bloodline will end that day. Seeing no way to escape, Leto bites down on his own teeth and releases a poisonous gas that kills everyone in the room, including himself. Elsewhere, Paul and Jessica set up a tent using the kit. They also find a note from the doctor and Leto's rain. Looking at the rain, the two realize that Leto is dead and cry in mourning. The following morning, Duncan approaches the Fremen imperial ecologist, Kynes, and asks her to help look for Paul and Jessica. Back in the Baron's palace, his soldiers enter the room after the poisonous gas has faded. They are surprised to see that the Baron has attached himself to the ceiling and is somehow safe. At the same time, Paul gets high on the spice in the sand and begins to have visions of the holy war that is about to erupt. He sees himself killing millions of people, and the resulting carnage makes him hyperventilate. A worried Jessica calms her son down. Sometime later, he dons his father's ring and assumes the title of Duke of Atreides. Soon, Duncan finds them and kneels in front of Paul, calling him the Lord Duke. Then, all three are taken to a safe place by Kynes. Their refuge is an old ecological station that was once intended to provide flowing water to Arrakis. If the project had been successful, Arrakis would have been a paradise. However, before its completion, spice was discovered in the sand, diverting everyone's attention toward harvesting the valuable substance and causing the project to be abandoned. A while later, the Sardaukar army reaches the safe zone and attacks everyone. Duncan risks his life to save Jessica and Paul. Paul yells at him to stop, because he has seen Duncan's death in his vision, but Duncan remains steadfast in his duty. Eventually, Duncan is killed in the fight, but Jessica, Paul, and Kynes manage to escape. Jessica and Paul board an aircraft that holds only 2 people. Meanwhile, Kynes instructs them to head south to meet the Fremen, who will aid their cause. She intends to board an aircraft from another station. The mother and son fly away, but Kynes is soon captured by the Sardaukar soldiers. They are about to kill her when she starts thumping rhythmically on the ground. The noise attracts a sandworm, which kills all of them in one go. After that, Paul's aircraft is pursued by 2 enemy aircraft. Paul guides their vehicle into an aggressive sandstorm, making their enemies believe that they are dead. In the following scene, we see the Baron bathing in medicines intended to heal the injuries caused by the poisonous gas. His nephew, Rabin, arrives and informs him that Leto and his bloodline are dead. Finally, delighted that his enemy house has been destroyed, the Baron orders Rabin to continue harvesting the spice and to kill all the Fremen. Elsewhere, Paul and Jessica crash land in the desert but remain safe. They change into desert suits and begin searching for the Fremen to request their assistance. Paul has learned about Fremen lifestyles and knows the way they walk to avoid attracting the sandworms. They walk for the entire day, during which Paul experiences visions of Fremen people and a particular girl urging him not to give up. The two stop to rest when, suddenly, they hear a loud noise. Paul realizes that a sandworm is nearby. To save their lives, they begin to run, only to be chased even faster by the sandworm. It emerges from the sand and is about to engulf them, but stops midway. Someone had activated a thumper to assist them. Just then, the Fremen leader, Stilgar, and his group surround them. It is soon revealed that they plan to kill Paul and Jessica for the fluids in their bodies. Stilgar stops his men, declaring that Paul is the Messiah they were foretold about. The others do not believe him, arguing that Paul has not yet proven himself and therefore cannot be the Messiah. One of them insults Jessica, calling her old and a weakling. She proves her strength by holding the man hostage, his life in her hands. After that, the leader instructs everyone to make their way to Tab, where Paul and Jessica's fate will be decided. Just then, the girl from Paul's visions appears before him and introduces herself as Chani. As they prepare to leave, a Freeman named Jameis insists on dueling Paul. According to Freeman tradition, all duels must end in death. Paul, who has been training all his life, easily defeats Jameis, but he hesitates to kill him because he has never taken a life. At last, Paul stabs Jameis to death, winning the duel. Then, the others pack up the body and proceed to Tab. The movie ends as Paul sees a man riding a massive sandworm, and Chani tells him that it is only the beginning. The ending makes it clear that much more is to come in the sequels. That's my explanation for the movie, Dune. So guys, what do you think about the movie? Write in the comment. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.